I have a story where I did a deal for a client probably back in like 2014. It was in the city of Victorville, which is kind of like the high desert, and it was a loan where it was a elderly person, very nice lady, and she said she tried like three places and nobody would call her back. It was a very small loan, like roughly 60, 70,000. And I said, I'll help you. I'll help you. And I worked with her on it. She said she'd gone to her bank, like she couldn't get a call back. She just needed to get it done. And so I said, let me work with you on it. I'll work nights, whatever you need. She had kind of a peculiar schedule. So I worked with her, closed it. She was so happy. And then she said, my son wants to buy a home. I said, okay. I'm thinking like, I'd love to meet him. But he was a little different animal. He was a doctor in Newport Beach buying a home for, I think it was like 7 million,
Oh,
but it
wow.
was his son. And so he was like, you help my mom, like, what do you need? So you just, every client's very important and
Mhm.
every client has a story. So, some of my best loans were doing, or like referring out a reverse mortgage where they had no other options to get money to live. We literally changed their lives. So yeah, we want to help everybody.
Yeah, that's amazing. That must be a really gratifying part of the job.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, I was
absolutely.
expecting the son to be like 19 years old with no
No,
money.
she was older. She was roughly, 70 years young, and he was probably 44 or something. This is years ago. This is like
Yeah,
11 years.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was younger too, but it was a great story, and that story keeps going though. Like
Yeah.
from that one contact, I can probably, it's just not going to be exact, but I have like 30 to 40 million closed from that one contact.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Pros podcast. I'm Kristen, and I'm here with James McKibban, who's a mortgage lender at Movement Mortgage. Thank you for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me, Kristen. Looking forward to this.
Yes, we're going to get all into mortgage lending and kind of just how you got into this business. How did you get into real estate to begin with?
Yeah, so when I was about 22, I finished college and had my first job, then second job, which weren't my forever jobs. My mom was actually a realtor at the time, and she was showing the owner of a mortgage company houses. And I was kind of between jobs and just wasn't doing much. Didn't have a ton of motivation, at that time. I'd finished college and did it in 4 years, and she said they're hiring in a mortgage company. I said, oh, I'll go try it. And I thought it was just my next job, not my career job. So I started as a junior processor at the, I don't want to say lowest low of the mortgage industry, but got started there. In that company, they had like these loan officer meetings because I was doing, processing per se. And they were like, if you want to come over and, check it out, and everybody seemed very intimidating to me, and they dressed nicer, they had nicer cars because I was a junior processor. And I was like, it's about 24 at the time. So I went in and started taking those next steps to becoming a loan officer. That's how I started.
Amazing. And at what point did you kind of figure out that this could actually be something you were going to do long term?
Yeah, I had a good mentor back then at that company who was, when I got to being a junior loan officer in that company, but he was kind of at the end of his career, and I was younger, so I wasn't extremely motivated. I still was looking forward to what I was doing on a weekend or going to see friends that lived out of
Right.
town or something.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
And so I actually got let go from that company when I first started. I just wasn't doing enough volume. I wasn't as consistent. I wasn't doing what they wanted. But when I was there, they'd asked me to go to like an industry event for first-time home buyers. And I met all these different lenders from Countrywide Home Loans, Chase Bank, Citibank, or whatever. And I really had kind of connected with this group from Countrywide Home Loans. And so they were young. They were a couple years older than me, but they really knew what they were doing. They seemed like they had it all figured out. And so when I didn't work out at my first company, I reached out to them and somehow I got into that company. And so it still wasn't what I knew that I was going to be doing this forever, but it kind of made me feel like, if I can get a little bit better, this could be a career. And after graduating college, I don't know, I was in the mindset that I wanted to wear a suit every day. And like, that's what means that I was a professional and I was a grown up per se. And so my first, I guess, 2 full years in the first company and second, I really struggled. I had my first client. I was kind of just, didn't really know what I was doing. I wasn't real confident. But I would say my third year is when I had kind of my breakout year per se. I got most improved in like Southern California. And there was like out of like 400 people or something. I had a little plaque, still have it. So that's when I was like, okay, I can do this. Because when you start, having repeat clients and referrals from friends and family in your sphere, and you kind of see what your other 24, 25, 26-year-old peers are doing that you went to high school and college with, you start to kind of, I won't say competing, but you start to envision where it can take you on those next steps per se.
Yeah, take it a little bit more seriously. What was the mindset shift kind of from that first year to that third year when you were producing better or producing more?
Yeah, I think just, it feels good, right? When you're on because with lending, there's a lot of data in terms of like where you're ranked in your office, in your market, in your region. And so every month it's posted top 25, top 50, wherever it is. And so I think it was just feeling like, wow, I was number 12 last month. I was number 4. I was number 1. And you start just kind of pushing yourself where you start competing with, better, loan officers than you. And it's just the way it makes you feel. And then when you start doing well, you really recognize how many people you're helping. The customers mean everything. And that's when you start to really, establish those dynamic power partners like real estate agents, financial advisors, and CPAs, et cetera. And so, and then I started to get, I don't even want to say passionate, but more obsessed. I started to love the business. You start to like, I always say that I'm always working even when I'm not working. Even if I'm not working, I'm like thinking about what I can do. I literally will pull out my phone and like take notes. I'm like, I have an idea. So you start to become the business.
Right.
And, going to seminars and watching real estate shows on the weekend, it's just kind of becomes, like your whole life.
Yeah, absolutely. And what, like on the other end, someone who's kind of looking for a mortgage lender, what separates the good ones from the not so good ones?
Great question. I think experience is really important. I think right now, I look at the loans I'm closing and I couldn't have closed some of these 5 years ago, 3 years ago, last year. You get better with every loan. I learn one new thing every single day. But right now, the loans are so complex. With rates being a little higher, affordability's been, hit a little bit with that. Values are still very high. So I think one thing is experience because you're just better when you've done it before. Done more loans as well. They say volume is power. You also have better relationships internally with your underwriters, underwriting managers, and like the decision makers. So you just have that built-in equity with your company. You can get things done quicker. Also, when you're doing more, I think you have more team support. If someone's doing one deal a quarter, you might not have 2 assistants or your own processor. So it's also quicker to have that kind of assembly line, kind of continuous flow, if you will. I think also,
if you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
When you're doing more, your product knowledge is going to be better. Like for instance, I'm really a loan architect. So if someone comes over and says, "Hey, I have a tough file for you. I got someone that's self-employed. They want to sell," and they say, I've talked to 3 lenders. They say, "Okay, I can do it." And they go, "What do you mean?" I said, "I can do the loan." They're like, "How?" Someone worked on this for 2 weeks. I'm like, "No, here's what we can do." Like all I had to know was the following. There's 3 options. It's just, you just kind of see it and know where to place it.
Yeah.
So I think experience, product knowledge, and also I'm kind of also known for working a lot. So I always make myself very available, whether it's you literally have a really rigorous schedule. I get up between 4 and 4:30 in the morning, and oftentimes I'll get home at like 9 o'clock at night. And that's not
Wow.
because I'm like, I have no time in my day that's not working. And so it's just, being very quick, because real estate and lending happens when what happens. It's not like, hey, it's 5:05, like call me tomorrow. It's like, yes, I'm at my office. Like let's talk. So I think availability and consistency with availability is really important.
Yeah, completely. So you're licensed in all 50 states. How does that
Yeah.
seems complicated as well?
It is. So, during COVID, I had a lot of clients. One client moved, another client moved, and another client moved. And I had like 8 clients that literally of my own that were like moved to all kind of the real popular states at the time, whether it was Texas, Tennessee, Oregon, kind of my footprint states as well, with Nevada, Arizona, Oregon. And I was like, I'm just going to get all these licenses, because if you don't have the license, if you're a mortgage banker, you have to basically give up the loan. Whether you just say, hey, I can't do it, you refer to someone in your company, you refer to someone outside of your company, and you want to always be a connector. You want to be able to help everyone. And so I had so many clients that were buying everywhere. And then you find out that a lot of them also come back to California. So they're like, "Oh my God, we're never coming back to California. We love Tennessee. We visited." 2 years later, they're like, "You know what? We liked it, but we're coming home." So if you're not staying with them when they go to that other state, you're not
Right.
going to be their first person they think of when they come back. So it just creates a lot of cross referrals. And also, fun fact about me, I love real estate and mortgage. I love seeing an appraisal that's in another state, that's in Maine or New York. I look at it and the architecture is different. And that's one thing I think clients love about me, is I really do, have like a lot of passion for what I do. It's
Mhm.
almost where some clients are like, oh, they just have like no real get up in terms of like really believing in home ownership and what we do. So I love seeing things out of state. I love to know what's out there. And the thing with mortgage today is it's so sophisticated that I can do a deal in Florida as fast as I can do one in, where I live. It's the same thing. So it's very quick. But yeah, I didn't want to lose deals by not having licenses. It does take a long time, because you
Yeah.
literally have to do each continued education to start, and then each one every single year. And it's
Wow.
also somewhat costly, because every state has a cost. It's a commitment, but now that I've done it, I don't see myself ever losing the licenses, because I don't want to have to go through it again. So
Well, it sounds like you really see the creativity in what you do. Like it sounds like there's a lot of opportunity for you to be creative and kind of fix problems, when I think a lot of other
yeah,
people might see this as more like straightforward, like more by the
yeah,
book. Yeah.
yeah, you're right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I came from a bank. I worked at Countrywide, but then was bought by Bank of America, and I was there for 12 years. So it's a great experience. I worked with some great managers, a great company, a lot of top producers. That's really where I cut my teeth. We had about 5 to 7 people that were all 20s and 30s, hungry, just go-getters, just grind. We're gonna fight to be number one in the office, and it kind of just made me really always want to compete, and I think my clients and realtors win with that, because you're fighting for rates for them. You're fighting for faster timelines, hard files. I always say, I'm the Larry H. Parker of home loans. I tell an underwriter, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. You can just approve the loan, or I'm going to fight you so hard on it with data, with pulling guidelines. You're going to approve it anyway. So what's it going to be? And they kind of joke, because they know I'm very nice, but like I won't stop on a file, like within reason, until we get it done for the client. It's very important to me.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Wow. I mean, you sound like you're a good person to partner with, and you're a top 1% producer in your area.
Yeah, it's probably more like 0.5% producer, which is better than one. But yeah, I've been pretty consistent. I don't take that for granted. Every year it's very hard.
Yeah.
It is. Every year you have to start from zero. That's the thing with lending is a lot of people can't do it every year. We've seen people come in the 2020s and 21s and have these really great years, but you really have to be able to take like the punches as a lender. And that sounds kind of weird or cliche, but it's really not about how hard you can get hit. I mean, it's not about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you get hit, and keep moving forward. Every file has a little bit of hair on it.
Yeah.
You're going to have to win on every deal on rate. Someone's going to need you when you're just off per se, where you're just like, okay, I'll call you right now. So you just kind of get used to living in that lifestyle. But yeah, I try to be creative. Call it like niche non-QM lending is a lot of stuff that we do. It's like forward thinking for what's coming and, trying to add investors that other lenders don't have and using like exception-based lending with our current non-QM second platform. So it's like, there's a lot to it. Yeah, I mean, I really like that side of it.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're very passionate about what you do. And what are some common mistakes you see from people who are, trying to secure funding for the first time?
Yeah, I think, you want to work with someone that's going to be communicative up front. So many times people say, well, I talked to someone, but I haven't heard back from them. It's been a day, it's been 2 days. And I always say, well, if you're not getting that type of response up front, you're not going to get it the entire way through the process. So make sure someone's going to be there for you because you want someone that can educate you, can answer questions. If something comes in wrong on the file, if an underwriter has questions or sends you into like what's called like a suspense where they're not approving it, maybe a value comes in low on an appraisal, maybe there's a condo issue, make sure you have someone that's really going to be on their side throughout. Lending, it's like they say, if you're not having problems today in real estate lending, you're not doing any business, Like I said before, someone that really has a lot of experience, I think. I mean, if somebody's been a doctor for 30 years and someone comes in their first day, they're both great, right? But someone that has that experience is probably going to say, I've done this procedure, 1,700 times, and it's just, here's what I would do. I wrote a book on it or whatever. So that experience goes a long way, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe also, make sure that somebody has the right product for you. It's like they say, it's better to be locked and proceed on the right program with a higher rate than the wrong program on a lower rate. Make sure it's really, applicable to what your path is for your short and mid and long-term goals. Maybe someone's a first-time home buyer. Somebody's a great loan officer over here, but they don't work with first-time home buyers.
Right.
Or maybe someone needs a construction loan. Someone's great, but they just don't offer that product and they're trying to do it for the first time. So do a little research on that person. But yeah, just getting to know them, feeling like you trust them, feeling like you
Is
guys
there
really.
is there a specific type of person that you work with more frequently?
It's a great question. I really consider myself an A to Z lender. I believe in my 3.5 years at Movement Mortgage, I believe I've done the 3 biggest loans in my company since it started in 2008. So, but that said, I just closed a really small loan last week. So I don't discriminate. I always say, I kick every football the same. There's a chapter in one of the real estate agents for $1 Million Listing called, I think it's called Kick Every Football the Same by Josh Altman. And I treat everyone the same, whether it's a line of credit that's, a smaller loan generally, or it's a $10 million loan. Everyone's equal. I feel like clients create clients. I have a story where I did a deal for a client probably back in like 2014. It was in the city of Victorville, which is kind of like the high desert, and it was a loan where it was a elderly person, very nice lady, and she said she tried like 3 places and nobody would call her back. It was a very small loan, like roughly 60, 70,000. And I said, I'll help you. I'll help you. And I worked with her on it. She said she'd gone to her bank, like she couldn't get a call back. She just needed to get it done. And so I said, let me work with you on it. I'll work nights, whatever you need. She had kind of a peculiar schedule. So I worked with her, closed it. She was so happy. And then she said, my son wants to buy a home. I said, okay. I'm thinking like, I'd love to meet him. But he was a little different animal. He was a doctor in Newport Beach buying a home for, I think it was like 7 million,
Oh,
but it
wow.
was his son. And so he was like, you help my mom, like, what do you need? So you just, every client's very important and every client has a story. So, some of my best loans were doing, or like referring out a reverse mortgage where they had no other options to get money to live. We literally changed their lives. So yeah, we want to help everybody.
Yeah, that's amazing. That must be a really gratifying part of the job.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, I was
absolutely.
expecting the son to be like 19 years old with no
No,
money.
she was older. She was roughly, 70 years young, and he was probably 44 or something. This is years ago. This is like
Yeah,
11 years.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was younger too, but it was a great story, and that story keeps going though. Like
Yeah,
from that one contact, I can probably, it's just not going to be exact, but have like 30 to 40 million closed from that one contact. So don't ever underestimate how important that person right in front of you is, no matter what they need.
absolutely. Absolutely. I can totally see that. And then when people are, I assume there's so many scams in your industry, just people trying to like take people's money and present falsely. What are some red flags that you've seen from kind of like scam lenders?
Well, I mean, I think that lending today is so compliant. There's so many disclosures. I mean, obviously work with a reputable company, do a little bit of research. I mean, you should be able to find anyone online today if they don't have like a whole profile. That's something that you want to look into. Most people I work with come from like referrals where I've met their realtor in like a meeting where I've spoken to their group, or a client of mine refers me to a family member or a colleague or what have you. I mean, I think just make sure that someone's looking at their loan estimate and their CD, which is known for a closing disclosure. That'll always show if there's any changes with APR, the annual percentage rates. You just want to be well informed. If you have questions, obviously you can always speak to a manager. You could always get someone that maybe knows more about the process, like a friend or colleague of theirs when they're going through it, to kind of say, hey, this doesn't look right on it. But I'm not sure. I haven't seen too many scams. I think wire fraud is on the rise, with escrow companies, et cetera. So make sure you're always, be careful what you're emailing out and stuff. There's so much of that. I've always run such a compliant business coming from a bank for 12 years. Some brokers or other companies have less regulation, but I've always just been extremely compliant. Like
Right.
what we had to do at the bank was like say our, NMLS every time we answered the phone. I got so molded where we had to lock our computer to our desk. It was, kind of the industry I grew up in. So for myself, I always just been on the very compliant
Yeah.
customer service hospitality side.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can see why people really trust you too. It sounds like you're a great partner. I can see why you're a top 0.5% performer.
Thanks.
And then kind of to wrap this up, what would be a piece of advice that you wish you learned earlier on in?
That's a great question. I think it's trying to think. I mean, I think maybe just trying to think of the best way to answer because there's so many things that come to mind. I think for me, I love originating, but originating is very hard, and I love to sell and be on that side of it. But I think maybe it would have been, inching into management sooner, because I've been originating so hard for nearly 20 years, and now I have so much knowledge to give, but I'm still originating, which again is my passion. I love it. I love being on the front, interfacing with clients, realtors, etc. It is a long day to be able to keep up that speed. And I only have one speed. Like I love it. I just get in there and go every day. I don't look at a clock. Rarely do I leave the office unless I have a meeting or for business reasons. But it might have been to go into management kind of mid-career because I had opportunities. I guess I am a branch manager, but I love helping people and training. And I always say that the best, trainers are, producers, because they've done it. It's like it'd be like playing baseball for a coach, but they never played the game. Yes, they might be brilliant. They might have read books, but so I look forward to that one day. Not yet for any originators out there, but the next maybe 5 years. So I got a long way to go, but yeah, I think, that's something is being able to help more people that are loan officers and give back to what's been such a great industry to me. So that's something I can't wait for. 5 years plus probably, but it's coming someday.
I love that. So how can people find you?
Cell phone or email is best. I do have a pretty good Instagram following. I wasn't big in social media until about 2, 3 years ago. I just didn't do it because I was at a bank for so long and they kind of frowned on it. Cell phone is best. My cell phone number, don't mind giving it out because, I'm here to help. That's what I do. I love to help people. I always say my whole presentation is usually about what can I do for you, not for me. Creates reciprocity, and it's just the right way to handle business and life. So my cell phone number, area code 949-302-6620. Great on text calls. Anything works. I'm very well versed. We have over 3,300 loan programs we can use. I know most of them. And I love being creative. If you have a deal that doesn't work in your realtor, let me know. I'll help you save it. I'm the original rescue loan expert. That's what a lot of my realtors call me. My email is also great. It's my first name dot last name at movement.com, and I'll spell that. First name is James, Jaes, My last name, M as in Michael, CKI, B as in boy, B as in boy, A as in apple, N as in November at movement.com. And Instagram is just my name, James McKibban, same spelling. So any works, but I think text is best.
Yeah, amazing. Well, thank you so much for doing this. I think people learned a lot.
Thank you. No, it's been really fun. You're a great host, and what a great
Thank
show,
you.
and what an honor, and just maybe we can do it again sometime.
Amazing. Well, thank you everybody for listening, and we will see you back next time. Bye.
All right.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.